everybody, Coach Brew here. Another episode of Windshield Wisdom coming at you. Instead of through the windshield, I've got the camera pointing at me today. And what I wanted to talk to you was about what, at the time of this recording, we are still in quarantine. And it's like coronavirus quarantine day number, 75, around there. I've lost count personally. All I can tell you is we've been in quarantine so long, I grew a beard and I have hair again. So there's that. But I want to share with you, what this has really exposed. It's exposed a number of things. One in which I really want to focus on for the purposes of this video, and that is the state of affairs of most things. And most people. I'm drinking a Diet Coke, not a Coors Light, thank you very much. Although both cans look very similar at first glance, I would never drink and drive. So, fragility. People, businesses, institutions, and political systems. Let's focus first on institutions. What this COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated, in my mind, more than just about anything, is really how reactionary many institutions are. Some, perhaps out of necessity, these small, private, tuition-driven colleges that are very fragile, inherently very fragile, and only getting more fragile as the number of college-bound students decline, and frankly, we just have too many colleges. So it's a supply and demand issue. They're all competing for the same kids. And there's really been an arms race in terms of, the amenities, and I don't know that we're really in the education business as much as we are in the enrollment business in this country anymore. That's a rant for another episode. But you see colleges, some private, some state funded, some that are very well endowed. How's that? For those with large endowments, I should say. Get your mind out of the gutter. Be immediately reactionary. I mean, we are not even 90 days into this, not even 3 months, not even a fiscal quarter of a year, not even a full semester, to put it in academic terms, much less, not even a trimester, much less an academic year. And they reacted by furloughing large amounts of staff, including some complete athletic departments at the Division I level, massive salary cuts for their highest paid employees. They are flat out dropping sports. I have one colleague who found out that his pay was reduced by 50% starting back on April 1st, and he found out on like April 7th. He found out after the pay period began that his salary was cut in half until July 1, which typically is when the new fiscal year begins at most institutions. How's that for poor leadership, communication, and crisis? Yeah. So that's the fragility, and that fragility has a trickle-down effect. Because most Americans, there's a study done, I can't remember if I read this in Bloomberg or the USA Today, but there's a study done that most Americans do not have $400 for like a household expense. Let's say your toilet breaks, your dishwasher breaks, there's a medical bill you have to pay, something like that, $400. They don't have that in savings to pay for a necessity. There's no rainy day fund. People aren't saving money. Apparently institutions with hundreds of millions of dollars of endowments aren't saving money either. They're barely They barely have a profitable net revenue, I should say, at the end of a year, because they're spending and spending and spending in this arms race for amenities and luxury items and experiences for their customers. Not their students, their customers. Let's face it, in reality, their customers are the kids' parents, who are typically scratching the check. So mom wants the kid living in a really nice place that's spacious and clean and new, and eating as close to home-cooked food, nutritious meals, with a variety of selections, nightly. That's not the purpose of college. You know, when I went to college, I was tripled up in a room with 2 other people my freshman year. And, you know, it was a bunk bed and a single bed. I shared a closet. I shared a dresser. It was a room to sleep in. I studied somewhere else. I was either in class studying or at practice. And it was just, I needed somewhere to sleep and shower and keep my belongings. That was it. There were no, quote, amenities. So I think COVID-19 has shown that we've really got some warped priorities. And how does this relate to you? You know, I'm going on this 5-minute rant here. How does it relate to you and your business is what you're wondering. Well, it relates directly, because just like most Americans don't have $400 to pay for an expense that is a necessity, medical or otherwise, most businesses, like most colleges, don't have a rainy day fund. They haven't planned in advance. They put all their eggs in one basket. There are very few colleges that had any kind of hybrid or online learning plan in place before this semester. There are very few businesses that were prepared, unless you're an e-commerce business or a .com or like a software as a service company. Unless you're one of those, there are very few businesses that were prepared to provide some of their client or customer offerings online as opposed to strictly offline and in person. So this has exposed the fragility of business models. It's exposed the fragility of higher education. And quite frankly, less than 90 days in, it's exposed the fragility of the human psyche. Not to get too philosophical on you, but the fragility of our mindsets. That we are having these knee-jerk reactions and panicking as quickly as we are, like it's the end of the world. It's 2 months and change. It's not even a hockey season. That's 6 months. You know, and I understand there are some organizations that have millions in expenses, some cases billions perhaps. And they're burning through a ton of cash. I totally get that. I can sympathize with any business owner who's struggling. I really can. I understand that that's the norm right now. But at the end of the day, if you're waiting for the government to help you, you're waiting for a politician or somebody that won a popularity contest and is currently a figurehead in the White House in Washington, if you're waiting for someone other than the person you see when you look in the mirror and brush your hair and brush your teeth in the morning, you're looking for someone else to help you, to save you, to rescue you, you're looking in the wrong place. And if your immediate reaction is to cut, you're also looking in the wrong place. You should be looking for opportunities, not opportunities to cut. Opportunities to grow, opportunities to pivot and migrate your business. And you should be looking at how you can have more of a solid foundation for your institution, for your business, so that 60 days doesn't throw a wrench in your entire operation to the point where you have to eliminate entire departments, products, people. I mean, it's really criminal the way we've allowed this situation to dictate how things operate. And I understand there are people with extenuating circumstances. I'm not making light of that. But my point being, you cannot, this transcends COVID. It transcends our current quarantine. You cannot assume business as usual will always remain as usual. Things happen. 9/11 happened. The Great Recession of 2008, the mortgage crisis happened and impacted every industry. You know, on a smaller scale, we had that H1N1 scare in, was that 2011, 2012? The swine flu? That impacted a lot of people, a lot of industries. This is a smaller scale than what we're currently experiencing, but it's not like business has always been normal. We have very short memories as business owners, as leaders, as human beings. You know, whether you're leading an organization, an institution, or a family, or just leading yourself. If you're a solopreneur like me, we have incredibly short memories of when things hit the fan, and we just sort of wait for equilibrium, wait for things to kind of reset. Well, they don't always reset, and things certainly never go back to exactly the way it was. So you need to have a contingency plan, and you need to be flexible. And we're seeing a lot of, like the example of colleges, they don't have a contingency plan. They're not flexible. They've been operating fat and happy for far too long, and now all of a sudden they've got to cut departments. Brown University is, hundreds of $1 million in endowment. Much like Harvard, they probably could afford to have all their students go tuition free for the foreseeable future, if they chose to. They decided to take, I think, 9 of their varsity sports. And they have a large athletic department, and in a cost-saving measure, reduce them down to the club level. So if you were recruited, got a scholarship, or even didn't get a scholarship, you just chose that institution because a large part of your academic experience, and that's what athletics is, it's a part of your academic experience, based on that sport, you just had the rug pulled out from under you completely. Well, it's one thing if you're a senior, it's another thing if you're a freshman. That is, in my opinion, educational malpractice for an institution to do that. And they said it's to enhance the quality of their athletic experience. Since when is cutting anything enhancing the quality of that which is being cut? You know, they have certain sports that are probably more of a priority than others, and it's simply eliminating the insignificant, as they view it, to salvage the significant, as opposed to getting creative and pivoting. And that is, I think, a great example. It really transcends higher ed, it transcends athletics, and it just shows how reactionary we've become. It saddens me, and it saddens me to see business owners resort to something in similar fashion, which I believe is unnecessary. And I believe that the economy is going to come back stronger sooner rather than later. And to exercise some discipline, emotional and fiscal discipline, and exercise just some prudence and patience would behoove every leader who's made knee-jerk reactions. So as you're listening to this, I hope you haven't made any knee-jerk reactions. And if you do need some assistance, coaching, counsel, I've been helping a number of my clients navigate this. I won't call it a new normal. The changing tides of business right now. And I do have some availability to help a few more clients. You can reach me at coachbru.com. That's coachbru.com. And when you do that, there's a contact page. You can email me. My phone number's on there. I answer my own phone. I respond to my own emails. A real human being who is me handles all that. So you can reach out to me directly. While you're on my website, you can sign up for my newsletter, The Daily Brew. where I offer leadership performance tips similar to this one. And when you do that, you'll get a complimentary 12-page issue of my premium newsletter that's reserved exclusively for my inner circle. And that's a $99 value, which you'll receive just for signing up for my newsletter. So I encourage you to head over to CoachBrew.com. And that concludes this episode of Windshield Wisdom. Be patient, be prudent, be disciplined. Thank you.